So how was it growing up with your brothers back in the old house?
I mean, it was childhood, you know. Uh, how was it? Pat and I were really close when we were real young. I used to have to tell him stories so he could go to sleep when he was like 5 years old. And then I think our lives changed when we started dividing up bedrooms, and as we got older, and pretty much the way things go is like, yeah, I was always the older one, so I was off driving first, so I was gone. You know, I was in high school first, so I was gone, and basically I think after that it was always coming home and finding out the parts of their lives you missed, and also wondering, hey, what was, you know, kind of what was it like, you know, when I wasn't home? I was away at college, they were at home doing whatever, and I don't know, some of those distances as you hit like 13, 14, 15, you grow really far apart because my life as a 16-year-old versus Pat's life as a 13-year-old is completely different. But then by the time you hit 20 or so, everything kind of merged together. So, I don't know, Pat and I grew a little bit closer. Sean and I grew a little bit closer through a lot of things that he went through because he had a little bit rougher childhood pending, you know, certain things, but it was cool.
Sean and I have, I don't know, when he was younger, he was an antagonist. He was really good at it. I would see the way that he and my mom interacted and like a special relationship that they had and how close they were. And if I ever stepped into his boundaries of his close relationship that he had with our mother, it seemed like he would turn on that antagonist mode to try and get me in trouble or get my mom mad at me. You know, Sean and Mom would go out shopping all the time, but if I got brought along, it seemed like he would go out of his way to make sure I didn't have a good time. So we had a really rough growing up, and it didn't have anything to do with what his sexual orientation was or turned out to be. It was completely just like, I think it was an attention from our mother we were both kind of fighting for, and he won. And that really bugged me a lot. But it wasn't until, I mean, really, now we live together, and if our only problem was our inability to, share our mother, now that we live together and our mom lives in South Carolina, we get along great. We've got nothing to fight about. So it's we have a much stronger relationship now. And for Sean was like his own entity, you know, it's Sean. And he was always involved in different activities, I guess. Well, he did football and he did these other things, but then there just kind of came an age where he was just, he developed his musical gifts and he started performing performance majors and worked more with the arts. Then after he did it, that's when I started doing it. After he went into the arts and he started playing the flute, then I became, I was like, hey, I don't have to play sports, and I started acting, did some stuff like that.
So basically your younger brother inspired you to go into arts?
To go outside of the norm. Yeah, he inspired me that I didn't have to play sports. Yeah, he really did. And because I saw him succeed at it, and I found something that I felt like I might be good at.
Were there any times where you had to defend him? Give me one good example that stands out.
There was this kid that lived not too far down the street. His name was Matt Nemi. He's just an asshole. That's all he is. And there was one time that his dog bit my little brother. And, Sean was just going to pet it or something like that. And he looked at me and he goes, yeah, it only bites gays. And I punched him right in the head. The way he said it was so derogatory. It was so, offensive to me. And yeah, I mean, I just did not. I didn't like the tone that he took with it. Mm-hmm. It was actually the first fight I was ever in.
Your point of view as the youngest child.
Okay, I definitely looked up to, the older brothers. We had a lot in common at some times, and then we had nothing in common at other times in our life. So I was always trying to relate to them, but we were always at way different points in our lives. And I think I got a lot in general because they were always gone or they were always too busy. And then I was like that last child and I know that, and I think they recognize that. But it was definitely harder because there's two more people for them to worry about, and you just kind of feel like they've already done it twice, and so there's an expectation for you. Father. My dad was kind of not making me. I think he had good intentions, but trying to make me into something, like his viewpoint, which is fine. He's just trying to like give me good values and morals and stuff like that. But it just was things that I didn't want to be involved in, like sports or things that I just didn't want to do. Or yeah, I mean, I think at the time it came across as me being mean. And I think it still does sometimes, but I just kind of always stood my ground with like what I liked and what I didn't like, and I always stood my ground with who I wanted to be, I guess. And my mom kind of supported me on that to an extent, and my dad didn't really at all. So
Growing up in the South Side Irish family
yeah,
that it appears to be, how is it being gay?
It's definitely hard. I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't like... My parents definitely weren't happy when I came out to them. And to be honest, I didn't know how hard it was going to be until I actually did it. My brothers were supportive. Danny more than Pat because he was already out of the house. I mean, growing up, I just hid it. I just, it wasn't an option and it wasn't a life that I could live, so I just kind of shut it out. But now, like after I came out, I mean, my dad is very awkward on the phone. I mean, like he doesn't know what to say. He's like, "Hey, how's everything going?" I mean, but my mom is like really come around, and I think deep down she just still like, doesn't want that separation because she just like didn't talk to me for a month when I came out. The extended family, it's funny because like there's some aunts and uncles that have come up to me and been like, "Oh, by the way, it's okay that you're gay," or "We support you if you need anything." And then there's other ones that at parties are like, "So, how's everything?" And I'll be like, I'm fine, I'm good. And they're like, "Really? Everything's okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, everything's fine." And I just know that they want me to be like, "Oh, I'm horrible," and like living this like Satan life, and it's just not true. So I think it's interesting to see that perspective because now I surround myself with people that are okay with it and that are supportive of it, that look at me as an equal.